Today's video starts from my hotel room in Jacksonville, North Carolina. The room has some pictures of military aircraft. The reason is that Jacksonville is where Camp Lejeune is located. Camp Lejeune is a Marine Corps base named for General John A. Lejeune. He reorganized the Corps after World War I to prepare itself as a rapid response unit, primarily in the Pacific if Japan attacked, but he also planned for a similar force on the east coast of the U.S. This morning I'm visiting the Lejeune Memorial Gardens, which is not far from the Marine Corps base. There are a number of memorials in this park. There are some that visit this park require reflection, but I've seen some others that walk their dogs or just get their steps in. Closest to the parking area is this 9/11 memorial. This is to honor those that died in the attacks which brought down towers 1, 2, and 7 of the World Trade Center. This is part of a steel beam that was from one of the towers. This marker says this was presented by the NYC Fire Department for the 343 firefighters who brought a battle in New York City on September 11th, 2001, and for the Marines who honored them in the Iraq War in spring 2003. This memorial was dedicated on our nation's birthday in 2003. Over here is the Beirut Memorial. On October 23rd, 1983, one of the Marine Corps headquarters buildings was destroyed by an explosion that killed 241 servicemen, and many were from right here in Jacksonville. Look at this memorial of a broken wall and the words, "They came in peace." There are 273 names inscribed on this granite wall. That includes the 241 servicemen that were killed in the explosion, 29 others that died as a result of their injuries from the blast, and 3 Marine pilots from Jacksonville that were killed in Grenada. This marker down here is to honor the American Gold Star mothers for their sacrifice, service, and patriotism. Mothers that lost a child in service to their country. In the center of this park is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. This is a very beautiful park. This marker says the memorial was dedicated on June 13th, 2009 to honor those veterans that served our country with duty and honor, and who sacrificed their lives to keep us free and that we may live in peace. All branches of military are represented with their flags and medallions. Over here is the Camp Lejeune Landowners Memorial in Remembrance. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. This is to honor those landowners that were forced to give up their property so the military base could be built. This says 700 families were forced to sell their property, many of which had ancestors that had lived there for generations. This says when they had to leave, they went stoically to start a new life elsewhere. The names of those displaced are etched on this memorial. One thing I missed is the Freedom Fountain, which is behind the Vietnam Memorial, beyond the trees. Now heading north on US 17, Summit Expressway. My next stop is in the city of New Bern, which I have heard is a beautiful city with a nice downtown and waterfront. Also, a familiar beverage was invented in this city. That'll be great to check out.
Hey guys, Emily. Welcome everyone. I started my day in Jacksonville, but now I've made my way to New Bern. Gonna be another long day in the Tar Heel State. Let's go. Let's look at a map to see where I'm going today.
My day will be all east of the Interstate 95 corridor heading northbound. I started in Jacksonville and now I'm in New Bern. I'll head north and then west to reach I-95, then see a large truck stop bigger than Buc-ee's, and make my way up to the state line before sunset. Take a look at this river walk along the beautiful view of the Neuse River. I just got to New Bern and I already have to say the city is beautiful. Definitely lives up to the expectations. Lots of ducks are enjoying the day as well. There are lots of ducks and birds over here. Here are a couple of white birds getting some sun, I guess. All these pigeons are getting fed, so that's why there's so many birds. I bet the ducks and fish are getting fed too. There has to be hundreds of birds here. One more look at the Neuse River before I head to the downtown area. I see a few boats out there enjoying the nice morning. Also, some long bridges going across this river. I see a bunch of people dressed up in colonial wardrobes under and near the gazebo. I think they might be setting up instruments to perform some songs later today. New Bern is a fast-growing city, more than doubling the population over the last 30 years to around 32,000 people. The city was named after the canton of Bern in Switzerland and share the same coat of arms. New Bern was founded in 1710 and was the capital city of North Carolina from 1770 to 1792. In front of me is New Bern City Hall. It was built in 1897 as a post office, courthouse, and custom house. The edifice became New Bern City Hall in 1936. New Bern has some cool sculptures around town. There are numerous bear sculptures around town. This one is decorated part as the American flag, and part with the city coat of arms, with an image of a black bear over a field of gold. Down the road is another decorated bear. This one is mostly decorated with light green on its bottom and light blue on the top. Looks like a family of white tigers on a colorful path, and some flowers by its feet, or maybe those are petunias? Over here is a bronze bust of the founder of New Bern, Baron Christopher de Graffenried. In 1710, he founded the first organized and substantial colony in North Carolina. Down here is a marker noting the first printing press in North Carolina was established in 1745 by James Davis, and in 1751 printed the first book, as well as founded the first newspaper in this area. About a block away is what many tourists to New Bern are here to visit. Caleb Bradham created Brad's Drink, which he created in this pharmacy I'm next to in 1898. It was marketed as Pepsi Cola. Yep, this is where Pepsi was invented and what was a pharmacy. It's interesting that Coca-Cola was also invented at a pharmacy. This building marks the site of Bradham's Pharmacy, where Caleb B. Bradham created Pepsi Cola in 1898. New Bern is not too busy this morning, except for this old pharmacy, which is now a small museum and gift shop. The gift shop has lots of Birthplace of Pepsi Cola merch in here. There's also shirts, glasses, plates, even cutting boards, and wall clocks with the old Mountain Dew logo. This is the old cartoon logo. Drink Yahoo! Mountain Dew. A timeline of the Pepsi logos near the ceiling, and plenty of clothing with the old logo. Down here, some vehicles, old and new, with the Pepsi name. All sorts of collectibles in this display case. Lots of Pepsi history throughout this little museum. Many different cans, bottles, and pins with the Pepsi and Mountain Dew logos. And even more in this curio cabinet. Some of the bottles are very old and haven't been opened. Some infant clothing with the original Pepsi logo. Pepsi, born in the Carolinas since 1898. Do you like Pepsi or Coke better? Leave me a comment. Look at these Mountain Dew toy vehicles from different time periods. And there's a Mountain Dew hat. Also some wall thermometers and different types of caps to choose from. There's also a small soda fountain where you can buy some Pepsi. It's very crowded in here, and this is a very popular part of the store. There is nowhere to sit. Here's some coffee mugs, great if you want a memento of your visit here. You can also buy Pepsi or Mountain Dew from a bottle, both the sugar and diet versions. There's also a timeline of Pepsi along the ceiling of the soda fountain. Also some more old unopened bottles of Pepsi. This is a great step if you want to visit the birthplace of Pepsi and learn about its history. There's more old soda on this cabinet, and I'm gonna get some new soda both from the tap, and I also got a bottle of Diet Mountain Dew. I also found out there's interesting people here. And you know I'm keeping that in. This is a very busy section of New Bern, since Pepsi is one of the most popular beverages in the world. But this is a cool stop, I enjoyed it. I would love to come back to New Bern someday. The city is beautiful, the old town ambiance and riverfront are fantastic. But now I need to head to my next stop, also on a riverfront. I'm now in Washington, North Carolina. This is the very first city in the United States named after George Washington, even before our nation's capital. The locals like to call this town Little Washington to avoid confusion with Washington, D.C. I didn't see a White House here, but I did find these 3 fiberglass crabs right along the riverwalk. I think the most unique of the 3 crabs is this white one, which has a man's face on its torso, and for some reason it has the word menu. These crabs were a part of a marketing campaign for the town called Crabs on the Move, and this one is called Culinary King, so now it makes sense that one of the crab's legs has the word menu on it. This blue one, I couldn't find the name on the crab, but it looks like it has an arts theme. I see the comedy and tragedy mess, a piano, a camera, and the crab is holding some flowers. The mostly red crab is called Forestation. I say mostly because the crab is actually wearing a red shirt and a pair of blue jeans. Also, the crab has green eyes and an interesting grin. I will say the crabs do add a little something interesting to the town. Now taking a look at this beautiful waterfront. This is the Pamlico River. The riverwalk is similar to New Bern, but the downtown shopping district of Washington is much closer. It's only a block away from the water. There's also plenty of boat docks. I think you can boat all the way to the Atlantic along the Pamlico River. The river is so beautiful, much less busy than it was in New Bern. And I don't see giant flocks of birds here either. Even the restroom looks scenic. It reminds me more of the Mid-Atlantic than the South. But I am getting close to Virginia, so that might explain the architecture. Washington has a small downtown area, and the city overall is not too big. Over here is the Washington Waterfront Underground Railroad Museum. It's closed right now, and they have irregular hours, so you will need to call first if you want to visit. The population is about 10,000 people. They are proud to say they are the only home of the Pan Pack. You may note the June 19th, 1865 signs. At the time I was filming, it was close to Juneteenth. Over here is the old 1910s era Washington train depot. This building is now the Washington Civic Center. Look at this beautiful building. This is where many city government offices are located, and is also home of the City of Washington Historic Preservation Commission. I'm not sure how old this building is, but take a look at how detailed the railings and columns are. This was a nice stop in what is commonly called the original Washington, but it's time for me to make my way west toward the Interstate 95 corridor to see more roadside attractions. This one was tough since there is no good parking. I can't park in this business, and I'm along a fairly busy thoroughfare. On the other side of the Pamlico River, near the city of Chocowinity, is the classic 1960s era Yogi Bear sculpture. This is the Bear Creek Mini Storage Facility, which also sells some used cars. He was moved here in March 2013. This Yogi Bear was originally at a Jellystone campground. He's about 15 feet tall and on a pole tall enough to be seen completely above the fence. Here's that busy road I'm on, which I think is the main road between Washington and Greenville, which is where I'm headed next. But this Yogi Bear was given a new paint job when he arrived at this business. Most notably, he has a fuchsia colored tie painted on him now. I'm not sure if he's wearing a wreath though. It's the middle of June when I filmed this, so there's no reason for him to be wearing a wreath. Another spoiler alert, this won't be the only time I see a Yogi Bear statue. I'll be seeing one later this afternoon, but I have a few more places to visit first, so time to head on to my next stop. My next stop is at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. Around this campus are a number of flags that say Servir or To Serve. This is a beautiful but small campus, and I'm here to see something that looks a little familiar to me. But first, look at these buildings, all with red brick exterior walls, and many of the buildings look new. There's a beautiful fountain over here, and school is out for the summer, so there's not many people here. The familiar looking statue is just a few steps away, under those trees. In this open and shaded area is a 7 or 8 foot tall sculpture of Pee Dee the Pirate, with colors of purple and gold. This bronze sculpture was sculpted by Jody and Hannah Gibran, and the cost of the sculpture was paid for by Irwin Belk, owner of the Belk department store chain. The name Pee Dee came from local elementary school students in 1983, probably because the Pee Dee River flows near here. However, 2 years later, the chancellor of ECU removed the name Pee Dee because he said the ECU student body did not come up with a name. However, the Pee Dee name stuck, and he is still unofficially known as Pee Dee the Pirate. The statue was installed in 1999 during that year's football homecoming celebrations, and stands in this courtyard not far from the ECU stadium and the Scales Field House. The pirate is meant to resemble an 18th century pirate known as Blackbeard, but if you happen to watch a professional eater known as Beard Meats Food, The statue sure does look like him. What do you think? The pirate looks pretty close, right? All that's missing is the pirate suit and eye patch. Anyway, let's head out to my next destination. I still have a lot of stops ahead of me this afternoon. Before I leave, I wanted to get a better look at this fountain. It really caught my eye when I was walking over to see the pirate beer meets food statue. This campus is really lovely with the brick buildings and walkways, and the landscaping is very well kept up. Now continuing westbound on this limited access highway, which recently was promoted to an interstate spur. This thoroughfare goes to Wilson and is now known as Interstate 587. And it's the city of Wilson where my next stop is, at White's Tire Service. Take a look down the street where I visit another Muffler man. This Muffler man has been waving at traffic at the corner of Hines and Pender Streets since at least 1997. Legend has it that if you wave to this Muffler man as you drive by, you'll have good luck. I didn't wave to him, and I'm not sure if I had any good luck, so maybe there's something to this legend. Apparently this is a rare type of Muffler man. There are not many bearded Muffler men with his hand outstretched. Usually this type of Muffler man has his hands positioned as if he's holding, well, a muffler. This Muffler man is not only standing by a stack of tires, he's holding one of those tires in his left hand. He sure does have big hands. White's Tire Service has been in business since 1951. The business was founded by Ed White and is now owned by his son Steve and his grandson Graham Wells IV. And when you come by, be sure to wave at this friendly Muffler man, and maybe you'll have good luck. Would you take a look at what's across the street? They look like a bunch of unique windmills, but instead of simple arms that move with the wind, there are toys and other objects that move in multiple directions, but still depend on the wind to move. This is the Vollis Simpson Whirligig Park. The name Whirligig comes from a portmanteau of two Middle English words, whirlin, which means to whirl, and gig, which means toy top. These structures are so elaborate, just a few of them are moving, since it's not very windy out today, but still these whirligigs are amazing to look at. These were all created by Vollis Simpson. All of these were created with recycled parts. The original park was 11 miles from here, where Vollis Simpson's farm is located. Vollis Simpson's health eventually declined, so he was unable to maintain the sculptures, which are about 40 to 50 feet tall. Luckily, the city of Wilson came to the rescue in 2010, and his whirligigs were all relocated to this park. The city of Wilson was starting efforts to revitalize the downtown area, and since the whirligigs had become popular, the city wanted to make them the centerpiece of their downtown. Here's a map of the park with all the names of the whirligigs. There are about 30 whirligigs in the park, all of which were rehabilitated over several years. Vollis Simpson passed away in 2013. The New York Times described him as a visionary artist of the junkyard who made metal scraps into magnificent things that twirled and jangled and clattered when he set them out on his land. Months after Simpson passed away, the park had its groundbreaking in October 2013, and the grand opening was November 2017. Here's a timeline of Vollis Simpson's life and this park. He was born in 1919 and started creating the whirligigs in 1985. This is interesting. The Sussy created 4 sculptures for the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. Let's check out all of Vollis Simpson's amazing creations. The Whirligig Park is not far away from Interstate 95 and 795 and is located in the heart of its historic downtown. These creations are really amazing, and if your travels take you along this part of the interstate, spend about 15 minutes just looking at these whirligigs. I have one more thing to see in downtown Wilson. This is kind of an interesting find. This is described as the world's tallest replica of the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. I was a taller when I visited Cape Hatteras, so I can't really vouch if this is a perfect replica or not, but it is definitely on its land. This lighthouse is in the parking lot of what used to be a seafood restaurant. Now the lighthouse just seems out of place, and it sure does look like it's going to tip over and land on the street someday. There's a cannon next to it and some chains or anchors around it. This replica's base looks similar to the actual Cape Hatteras lighthouse. I think at one time this lighthouse lit up at night, but I'm not sure it does today. This replica is about 40 feet tall, so roughly 20% scale to the actual Cape Hatteras lighthouse. That would be awesome if the city would come and fix the tilt in this lighthouse, and then turn on the light at night. Wilson was a great surprise. I enjoyed everything in this town, but now I have to head to my next stop. Continuing westbound, and I'm just a couple miles from the city of Kenley. I'm on US 301, and I found an interesting looking roadside statue. Take a look at this. I'm not sure exactly what this is. This is commonly known as the Goon with a top hat. Look close, he's holding a small Corvette in his right hand. This is actually a redecorated mascot for the Tasty Freeze restaurant chain. I'm a Johnny's Corvette specialist. Back in 1982, owner Donnie Hall Jr. was working on a customization for a Cadillac limousine owned by the owner of a nearby Tasty Freeze. After the work was done, the guy took the Cadillac without paying, so Donnie Hall took one of the Tasty Freeze statues, created a top hat out of an oil drum, and installed it on the roof of his auto shop. Donnie Hall never did get paid, but he said the owner of the Cadillac had to drive past the auto shop every day to and from work, Today, lots of people, such as myself, stop by to take pictures of this weird statue. Oh, by the way, when you stop at Johnny's to take a look at the Goofy Goon statue, you get a bonus. Take a look at this. Kinda looks like Tow Mater from the Cars animated movies, doesn't it? There have been a couple of families that stopped by while we were here. Some with small children, but I think maybe the kids saw the Tow Mater and asked mom or dad to stop by and take a picture. But this is worth a 5-minute stop. Get some pictures, maybe stretch your legs. Alright, my next stop is just a couple of miles away, and I'll pick up Interstate 95 from here, so let's head on over. When ResetAmerica.com had this place listed, I was expecting to see a tall lighthouse and a gas station off I-95. I had no idea this was at a gigantic truck stop. This is the Kenley 95 truck stop, named for the city I'm in, which is Kenley, and it's off Interstate 95. This reminds me a lot of the world's largest truck stop in Iowa, but this one is quite a bit smaller. So let's head inside this truck stop and see what's inside. At the entrance is this large shout area with the Kenley 95 logo with the lighthouse. Right away I can say this is bigger than any Buc-ee's. In fact, this is the largest truck stop on the East Coast. This place is huge! There's a large truck showroom, which the Iowa I-80 truck stop has, but this one is much smaller. Take a look at this mural on the big rig. There are lots of items that are reminders of what's in North Carolina. Down here are the Whirligigs, which I just saw. Then I'll pan to the left. Is that Betsy Ross and Liberty Bell? Those are from Philly. But allegedly the Venus flytraps are from the Carolina coast. The trucking showroom by itself is about 30,000 square feet. Overall, the combined building is about 100,000 square feet. That also includes a traditional convenience store, a food court, lots of clothes and souvenirs, and the restrooms, which are pretty clean. Lots of Kenley 95 merch in this store. That includes lots of shot glasses, coffee mugs, snow globes, bells, and tumblers. Also, they have many different designs of shirts, and on the left are playing cards. There's something about pirates here. Look at all the pirate merch for sale. Also lots of small games, great for long trips in the car. There's also many miniature big trucks with many designs. Here's some meat sticks and beef jerky on this wagon. Over here is a traditional convenience store section with snacks and drinks. They also have a selection of soaps and lotions in case you need them. These are small dolls called watchovers. They're kinda cute. They have a nice supply of boots, leather jackets, and coonskin caps. This table has a selection of candles that look like delicious pies. They have an enormous selection of shirts, lots of different designs, and there are so many kinds of pajamas. Lots of bedtime clothing and also flip-flops, so much here. On this rack are some sweet treats, but it looks like the fresh baked goods are mostly sold out, and the Hostess honey buns are all that's left. More from the convenience store side, with prepared sandwiches and fountain drinks. Over here are some multi-bowls, something quick to go, and on the left are containers of mixed nuts. Here's a large selection of fudge, $7.99 per pound, and lots of different flavors to choose from. There's some pickled items, some sauces and jellies over here. They have a sit-down restaurant over here. It doesn't look too busy, but you can order off the menu or enjoy their full buffet. Looks like they have a bunch of glass figurines, some of them designed as Mickey or Minnie. More snow globes, musical figurines, and whatnot over here. Are these miniature musical instruments? People actually buy these? They also have a big selection of knives, all shapes and sizes. At the front of the building is this pickup truck with off-road tires, and in the flatbed is a blown-up patriotic dinosaur. A modest food court is here. Subway, Dairy Queen, and Wendy's are here. Also Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, not nearly as big as the Iowa truck stop. I had absolutely no idea this giant truck stop was here. Now I know why there is some resistance to putting a Buc-ee's along I-95 in North Carolina. Kenly 95 truck stop, exit 106, check it out. Now it's time to get back to the interstate, Benstone. Back to the interstate. There's a few things to see before I reach the Virginia state line. I reached the rural town of Nashville, not the one in Tennessee, but this one, which is not too far from Rocky Mount. There's a plethora of fiberglass animals near the Dollar General and BP gas station. That includes another pink elephant to add to my collection. Look at this patriotic red, white, and blue horse. There are about 10 or so of these fiberglass animals. Take a look at that bear. There's also a white tiger, and look how colorful this rooster is. Whoever painted these did a really great job. And there's another look at the pink elephant. I've seen at least a dozen pinkies on my travels. Maybe more. Look at these Batman and Robin painted horses. Awesome job with painting these. And this cow was painted with a bunch of sunflowers and a red barn. On Google Maps Street View, these statues were here in 2009, but more recently, these have been painted by the Ruritan Club, which is a community service club located in many small towns such as this. This is a cute little stop, and just on the interstate. Alright, let's head to my next stop. Continuing in the small town of Nashville, North Carolina is Leon Parker Signs. There's a nice collection of classic signs, but here's also a relic from the past. From the former Yogi Bear honey fried chicken chain are these statues from the classic Yogi Bear cartoon. But over here are the classic signs from Rexall Drugs and various gas stations such as Gulf and 76. And there's more. Not only do they have all these classic signs on the Leon Park business, but next door is a house in this back area with a bunch more signs. I'm not sure if the house and the business in this back area are all the same property. At the pool it says Dale's Water Hole, and it has a classic Pepsi bottle cap and a Coca-Cola mural on the side. Another look behind the pool with some more classic signs such as Phillips 66, Sinclair, and also a railroad crossing sign. There's a front view of the house, and then swinging around back to the business, which is closed, I think, even though there's a lot of cars. And I'm going to take about 15 more seconds of video. A couple of cars just pulled in, and some of the people went to the area behind the pool, and they have some food. So I don't know if this back area is an Airbnb. I'm not sure I was supposed to take video, but then again, why advertise this place on roadsideamerica.com if you don't want people to visit and take photos and video? Anyway, here's my final stop of the day, and I'm heading to the city of Weldon. In downtown Weldon is the final roadside attraction I'll visit, and it's this giant fish. This fish is huge! The sign says that Weldon is the rockfish capital of the world. A rockfish is a general term for a fish that tends to hide among a bunch of rocks. In this part of North Carolina, the main species of fish is striped bass, and this fish does in fact have stripes. The advertising for this county says that you'll have a real good time. REEL. Get it? This marker has a map of the town with some places of interest. There's also a brief history of the city of Weldon, which was founded by William Weldon and incorporated in 1843. But on the bottom is a description of the myth of Rocky the Giant Rockfish, which was the name of the fish sculpture. The myth is an angler named Jonathan Jackson and how he couldn't quite reel in the giant fish. When Jackson told some of the fellow fishermen about what had happened, no one believed him. I wonder if that's where the term fish story came from. Here's a small school of fish, which looks like they're being pursued by Rocky, the world's largest rockfish. Weldon was officially recognized as the rockfish capital of the world by the North Carolina General Assembly in 2009. And that's it. I'll end the video here as I leave the state of North Carolina. I'll continue this road trip from Virginia next time. Now wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. On the right is the Welcome Center. Welcome to Virginia. Thanks for watching. Bye!